Why is it that people who invest in real estate quietly end up wealthy 10, 20 or 30 years later? Meanwhile, the people chasing crypto pumps, meme stocks or short-term wins, they are usually stressed, burnout or broke. There is a reason for that. Real estate works. It's slow, steady and incredibly powerful when done right. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can use real estate wherever you live to build real long-term wealth. This is not a hype video, this is what I call a get rich for sure strategy. You are going to walk away with the 3 wealth building pillars of real estate, a simple mindset shift that changes everything, and a preview of how I built my portfolio starting from scratch, just like you can. Stick around till the end because I will also share the number 1 mistake that cost me years of progress so that you don't need to make it too. When I was 24, I bought my first rental property in the US. I had zero experience, nobody in my network was investing in real estate, and there was no YouTube classes or fancy online courses back then. And to be honest, I barely spoke English at that time. But I had one thing going for me, I was obsessed with the idea of building wealth. So I scrapped together what I had and I convinced 2 banks in France, where I was born, to give me personal loans, about 90,000 euros combined. And with just under 100,000 euros in total, I flew to Florida for 2 weeks. I had no connections there, no team, just Google Maps and some determination. I remember in the first few days I visited 45 properties. I ran the numbers, I took note, and by the end of my trip, I bought 2 houses. And here's the first one. So here's a property I bought 12 years ago in Tampa, Florida. It was in 2013, and this is just the inspection report that I did just after purchasing the property. So you can see the state, and it was actually in a very bad condition. The roof was completely broken, there was leakage everywhere, there's termites issues, a lot of plumber issues as well. So yeah, it was in a bad state, and you can even see that the windows, many windows were broken. Look at the state of the bathroom as well. So yeah, that was my very first property. And what I like about the US is that if you go on that website Zillow.com, you will see all the transactions that happen for a given property. So that's the property. So what we can see is that today that property from Zillow is estimated to $345,000. And if we look back at 2013, when I purchased the property, I bought it here. I bought it for $42,000. Can you imagine this property, which is a 5-bedroom with 2 bathrooms, quite a large property, 1,800 square feet, and a large land as well that comes with it. And the interesting thing is that, so I bought it for $42,000. I spent slightly less than $20,000 to get it ready for rental. So I did the roof, repaired the broken windows, put a new AC. There's quite a few things that needed to be done, but I managed to rent it for $1,250, and it stayed rented until I sold it. And I sold it here in 2021, 4 years ago now. So I kept that property for approximately 8 years, and the profit was actually huge, because just in a few years with the rental, the mortgage was paid back. And look at the capital appreciation, it's incredible. From 49,000 plus I spent 20k in renovation, the price jumped to 275,000. And if I kept that property up to today, the price would be almost $70,000 more. That is crazy. That is crazy appreciation. So that was my first investment, and probably one of the best I did actually. Because the good thing about this property is that I went there for 2 weeks. I bought it. Once the closing was done, I then went back for another week, probably a month later, to oversee or find the proper contractor and oversee the renovation. And then I just get the keys. I found a property management company, gave them the property to handle. They found a tenant pretty fast, I think within a month or within a few weeks, if I remember correctly. And I was lucky with that property because the same tenant stayed until I sold the property 8 years later. And we increased slightly the rental every year. And the crazy thing as well is that if you look at the rental estimate for today, Zillow estimated at $2,700 per month. So the rental has more than doubled in the last 12 years. How crazy is that? You know what was the spark for all of this? It started one morning when I was working a corporate IT job in a bank in Paris. I saw a news story about a 12-year-old girl who had bought 2 rundown houses in her neighborhood in Florida. She renovated them with her parents and was renting each one of them for about $700,000. And I remember thinking, wait, she's 12? If she keeps this up for a few years, she will never need a job. Meanwhile, there I was wearing a suit that I didn't like, riding stinky public transport in Paris, heading to a job that I was not excited about. That was the moment. A few months later, I left that job, I got the loans from the 2 banks, and then I flew to the US and bought my first 2 rentals. That experience changed everything for me. And fast forward to today, I'm 37 now, I've done deals in multiple countries, including right here where I live in Dubai. But I have also made a ton of mistakes, and the biggest one, it probably cost me 10 years of progress. Stick around and I will share that lesson at the end of this video. If you are serious about real estate, this one mistake could save you years or even decades on your own journey. So that first deal was the spark. But what really made real estate work and continue to work for me are the same 3 wealth building engines that work for anyone. Whether you're investing in the US, in Europe, or here in Dubai, they are the levers that make the real estate so powerful. So let's start with the first wealth engine, the appreciation. That's when your property goes up in value over time. In the US, prices have quadrupled since the 1980s. And in Dubai, in some areas over here, even in the last 5 years, prices have already doubled. But like many great investors say, the goal of real estate is to hold for 30 years. Because in 30 years at that point, the market could crash or soar, but it will not matter anymore because your mortgage will be gone, the asset will be cash flowing, and it will still be going up in value. That's the long-term wealth. The second pillar is the cash flow. This is what makes real estate so unique. You are getting paid every single month. Like my first deal, it paid me $1,250 per month, and the rent today is even estimated to be $2,700. That's basically the salary of a lot of people. In Dubai, I've seen 6 to 9% net returns, even higher in some cases. And while that rent is coming, your tenant is also paying off your loan, and your property keeps appreciating in the background. You're getting paid to just wait. And it is as close as it can be to what we call today passive income. The third engine is the tax efficiency. In most countries like the US or France, you can depreciate your property and reduce your taxable income. In Dubai, you pay 0 taxes on rental income, 0 taxes on capital appreciation, so it doesn't matter. But this tax benefit, if you use it correctly, it just means more cash in your pocket legally. Real estate investors can use depreciation to lower taxes even while the rental income is growing. That's something stocks or crypto cannot do. Now zoom out. Let's say that you buy one good deal, you rent it out, you hold down, you wait, fast forward 30 years, the mortgage is gone, the house is worth 3 or 5 times more already, and it's still paying you every month. That is your retirement plan, and you do not have to wait until you are rich to start. Just one good deal held for a long term can change everything. So you know I'm 37, my parents are retired today, and like many retirees, their pension or income covers the basics. But imagine if they had just 2 rental properties bringing in an extra $2,000 or $3,000 a month. That would have been a game changer for them. So think about the potential of getting a couple of rental properties for your retirement. So this is not about getting rich fast. It's about making a move now so that in 30 years we don't look back wishing that we had started. Now let me tell you what I wish I knew earlier. There are things that if I knew would have helped me to build wealth 5 or even 10 times faster. The first one is I did not build what we call a credit score properly. So to buy my first properties in the US, I took out personal loans in France, but those were not even the right kind of loans for real estate. Traditional mortgage is paid over 20 to 25 years. My personal loans, they had to be repaid in just 8 years. That means higher monthly payments, which crushed my cash flow. Second, I did not invest where I had the strongest advantage. At that time, I was a French resident with a solid job in Paris. If I had focused on investing in France where I had income, residency and a relationship with local banks, I could have grown my portfolio a lot faster. I could have refinanced, leveraged equity and built real partnerships with lenders. The third one is in my personal life, I moved a lot. After this adventure in the US, I went to live and work in London for a couple of years. Then I went to travel to Asia. I lived a few weeks in Malaysia, a few weeks in China, a few weeks in Thailand. Then I settled for 6 years in Singapore and now I live in Dubai. Personally, it was an incredible journey. I met my wife in Mauritius, we got married in London, my daughter was born in Singapore, my son was born recently in Dubai. What an amazing journey when I think about it. But financially, starting over in each country cost me years. Because every time you move, the banks don't know you. You have no credit score, no lending history. You are starting from scratch again. Meanwhile, that guy who stays in one country, builds his career, pays his taxes and works with the same job for 10, 20 years, he has the ultimate advantage, access to capital. And that relationship with the lenders is the number one thing that allows you to grow a real estate portfolio fast. Now, yes, I've always been able to find ways to get funding here and there, but it was a constant uphill battle. If I had the support of one strong banking relationship, I would have gone 10 times further, 10 times faster. That one mistake cost me years of compounding growth. That's why in the next video, I will show you how to get financially ready to invest, how to build credit using leverage wisely and prepare even if you're starting from zero. If you've ever thought real estate sounds great but I don't know where to start, you are in the right place because in this series I will break it down step by step. Next up, are you financially ready to invest in real estate? We will cover everything from budgeting to loans to building your credit score the smart way. So hit subscribe, tap the bell and comment below what is the biggest thing holding you back from getting your first property. Let's build wealth together. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next video.